Woo! Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Zoom conference call. Hope that you get to watch this recorded or live. And we have a special guest, little Beckham, up there tonight, making an appearance. Super, super cool. I still remember like when Jennifer told me she was pregnant. We were at Superstar Summit, and I don't even know if I told you I was pregnant. I was 12 weeks pregnant, and it was like a hush hush, like, oh, and she was just newly pregnant, and it was just fun. But we weren't any fun at that event because we were both so tired. We just kept going back and sleeping. But fun. So I want to give a huge shout out because before the next call that we do, Miss Jennifer is going to be celebrating her 10 years with Scentsy. Yay. And that is pretty fantastic. Jerry Franz, our fearless leader for Jennifer and I and all of our team and group, just celebrated her 10-year yesterday. So Jennifer is just around the corner, and I cannot believe it's already been 10 years.
Me neither. That's crazy.
Yeah. Because I was thinking about like Brooke. Like, okay, so she just turned 18. Like, she was 8 when you started. Yeah. And like, a lot of your kids, Scentsy's been their whole life.
Yep. Balin. I've had Balin. Braun was a baby, and then I had Balin, Bryce, and Beckham all since.
Very crazy. Well, congratulations. We're super proud of you and excited that we get to do this journey with you. So tonight we're going to talk about consistency and what it means to be consistent within your business. And I'll give you a few tips of how to stay consistent in your business. Now, disclaimer is I am not a consistent person, and that's why I think my business sometimes suffers, because I was kind of doing some research tonight, and everything I was reading was like, oh my gosh, yes, this makes so much sense. Like, why am I not doing it this way? So I hope that you get some good nuggets tonight and can learn a little bit more about how to stay consistent and why it is so important for your business. So consistency, the term, means conformity in the application of something, typically that which is necessary for sake of logic, accuracy, or fairness. So the power of consistency and what that means, I looked on the Inc.com website, and what does that mean for your business? So I'm going to give you 5 little tips of what consistency means in like the general business world, and then I kind of broke it down more into the Scentsy world, and we can chat about it as well. So feel free to turn the chat bar on, and anything that you guys have, post there so we can talk about it. But consistency allows for measurement. And this struck me huge because it's like I feel like I do something and then it's like, oh, this isn't working for me. I'm done. Okay, so staying consistent is making it easier for me to know whether something is going to work or something's not going to work. So it allows me to know. And I think of like whiff boxes, like, oh yeah, like everyone is on, trying these whiff boxes, or scent crates, or whatever you call your little monthly subscription. And I'm struggling with them. I don't have the client base that wants them. I've hit or miss. I have one person that's bought consistently. Otherwise, it's just kind of, like, no, I'm not interested, but I'm not consistent with it. Like, I don't have a set plan. Like, on the 15th, I'm going to, set out what I'm going to have for next month. And then by the 20th, I need payment. And by the first of the month, the stuff is shipped out. I don't have that set up. Is that hurting my potential of making this really grand? Possibly. So knowing whether, if you are consistent with how you're doing things, you can be able to see if it is going to be a big tweak that maybe I just have to like figure out, okay, in the next month I'm going to have, or the next year, the next calendar year, what am I going to have for whiff boxes? What are the topics going to be? And then do my customers know that I'm going to be, doing a marketing email to them about it on the 5th? Then I collect payment on the 15th, or, do I need to get more set in my ways versus just freewheeling it, because that's kind of what I'm doing and I'm not getting success. So maybe that's a lot of this was like, oh my gosh, like I need to be doing this. Consistency creates accountability. And I see this too, like within like leadership as well. So make it a priority to make follow-up consistent. So you are, every single time that your customer orders, they know that within 4 to 5 days that they're going to hear from you after they get the product. Just get that ingrained in their heads. And then we have to be consistently doing it. Okay. Missy Silcox is so huge in the follow-up, but her business is huge. So obviously it's working. Like it's very, very structured. And if you just keep consistently doing it, you're going to have consistent results. And same with your team. If you're consistent with incentives, or doing a Tuesday team talk, or Jennifer does her Friday Fab Fridays, like they know exactly on Friday that they're going to see what Jen posts about. Or I used to do Marvelous Monday emails, and it's like, I wonder if my team would appreciate that, because they always knew what was going on in our businesses. And so it just kind of creates that accountability from the person that's looking to do the consistency. It also establishes your reputation. So if I'm consistent, knowing that, we can go back to like just the whiff boxes. If I'm consistently following up with my customers, I'm consistently sharing the products that I have and the offerings that I have, they're going to know that they can count on me being around, that I'm not this wishy-washy person that is in, a bunch of different organizations, that they know that I'm focused on Scentsy, that they know that Scentsy's in my heart. It just completely keeps us consistent with our customers. It can count on you, and the same with your team, knowing that if they post on the team page and, I'll get back to them. Or I am the one thing that I am really consistent about in my business is that I welcome every single person on our group page that gets introduced. I make a point that I always comment, because I think that's such a huge, huge, huge thing, building that rapport. It's almost like it's so simple to be doing that. And if we're consistently doing that, it just becomes a habit. So your reputation. So business growth requires a track record of success. Some of the things that I was thinking about when I was looking at the stuff tonight was, what's good track record, or what's a good reputation? I think of like the events that I keep getting asked back to, having that good reputation of being very consistent and accountable for being at events that, they contact me back to make sure that I come back to support their events. The same fundraisers I get back time and time again. It's almost like I feel like I'm doing the same group over and over and over again. But I feel like that consistency only helps me because I have that constant contact with all of those customers. A bad thing that could hurt, not being consistent is trying new things all the time. So I first thought of the whiff boxes, any new trend. If we're constantly trying to do new things, that our customers are like, wait, what's going on? Now what are you doing? Wait, I just got attached to this thing and now you're going to add this into it. So sometimes being proactive in wanting to do a lot of different things can actually hurt your business. So we really need to watch that. Number 4, it makes you relevant. So being consistent makes you relevant. Customers need predictability, flow of information from you. This one, he talked a lot about, like, if we're not consistent with, like, even like our measurement, and going back to that first one, where if we're consistently always doing the same thing and we're able to track it, that's great. But if we're not always consistently doing that, how do we know if it's going to work or not? I mean, if, 2 months you try it and you're like, oh, no, it's just not going to work. Well, there's a lot of sayings out there, Rome wasn't built in a day. And I've been listening to some things about blogging and podcasting, and, a lot of those people don't make it within their first year, and, building up a rapport. And even like thinking about my business, where my business is today versus it was 9 years ago, way different, but I'm consistently still doing the buy, host, join. A lot of people will stop an initiative before you can actually see the gain. And just like me, like I was like, well, maybe I should stop my whiff boxes because I feel like I'm always bugging the same people, or I'm not getting the success that everyone else is. I do that whole trap in my mind, and that's just a trap. I should not be comparing myself to other people. I should be grateful for the 2 boxes that I've had each month, because it is just, creating a new avenue for my customers. And I'm not going to stop promoting it. I'm just going to take a little bit of a twist on it, more of a real approach, like have dates set, have, examples of what I've done in the past, have a list of exactly what's going to come out for the next 3 months, so that they know that what they can expect. And then number 5, consistency maintains your message. Your customers are always watching you. And I always, staying consistent with social media, party, talking about joining, the more we focus on being consistent, the more our customers will believe and trust in us as a consultant, which is so true. I think about this, I don't know where I heard it, but having a marketing goal, or staying consistent with your marketing. Okay, having like your social media have one little avenue where you just kind of focus on that. And I have a niche of, I'm an interior designer, so I really try to, especially at my parties, I really talk about decor and how you can fit it into your home, and not just a warmer on a light bulb or a warmer on a counter. And I did it at my events. My last 2 really, really big events, I have 2 in September that are multiple days, and I set up my display had brought in furniture pieces. I did it way different than I've ever done before, and I had really great success selling full-size warmers, like the ones that you would think never sell. I did really, really, really amazing with that. So I know that that's my niche. And if I can now, I need to focus my marketing, my branding of myself like that. But if I were to do, okay, so I'm going to dabble in this, and then all of a sudden I'm going to dabble in how, something else with Scentsy. And sometimes it gets almost too wishy-washy that the customer is like, what is she talking about? Or, that sort of thing. So focusing and staying consistent with your message is so huge. And I think Scentsy does it really well. Like, we always know when Bring Back My Bar is. They're very consistent with that. They're always consistent about the 10% off. They're very consistent about having like the extra set of testers for the transition months. So that's something that we can always rely on Scentsy. If our customers can always rely on us for, different things, then they'll know that we're consistent and that we're willing to stay within this business, and we're here for them for the long run. Okay, so that's kind of more as like a business way. But then I started to think of like, well, how can we be consistent within our businesses? I'm going to share a little bit of like systems that I've set up for myself. And then like, let's talk about PRV. Why is it so consistent to be consistent with your PRV, right? So a lot of us do this because we like the money. We are in business because we want to make money. If we're not consistent with our PRV, we won't really know what we're getting for a paycheck. Okay? That $500 leadership role that we have to get $500 in PRV, that should be our very consistent goal that we have every single month, no matter if you have one person or 10,000 people. It should be that or over, because we know then we will always get consistently paid at our leadership title. And then, thinking about like paid at title, why is that so consistent, or why is that so important to be consistent? Again, my big thing that I thought about was paycheck. Like, it's amazing how your paycheck can change once you hit director and star director and superstar director, if you're consistently paid at that. It's huge. So thinking about like, well, why is it so important? Like, oh, whatever, I don't care if I get paid at lead or at star, or it doesn't really matter. It does to your paycheck. And I guess if your paycheck doesn't matter, then you're right, it doesn't matter what you get paid at. But getting paid at title is what matters for your, there's different rewards that you can get for getting paid at title. When it's an incentive trip, huge. Your paycheck, I don't know if you guys can think of any other reason that it would be huge. Another one that I just want to touch base with on tonight is recruiting, because I feel like if you're a consistent recruiter, your business is always growing. It's really hard when you're consistent for some time with recruiting and then all of a sudden you don't recruit. And then it's almost like it's harder to get back into the swing of recruiting because you took a step back and didn't recruit. Now, whether that's because you're not having the conversations or you're just not presenting the opportunity, whatever it may be, it's just not there. And this is me 100%. I've struggled with recruiting in the last few years. It's harder for me, and I have no idea why, other than it's just mindset problems or just not talking enough about the opportunity, so that I'm not having the no's. I'm not getting the no's because I'm never talking about it. So if I'm consistently offering the opportunity, if I'm consistently talking about it, what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to be so like, trying to think, I've lost the train of thought, but just like, I can't think. I don't know. If we're not constantly focused on it, then we're not going to do it. So having consistency within recruiting makes you focus on it. It keeps your team growing. It keeps your paycheck growing. And sometimes I see this happen where you have someone recruiting, and then they stop. And then 3 months later, then their team is gone because the people that they were recruiting are now gone because they didn't put orders in, or they decided that Scentsy wasn't for them, or maybe you have a few people left, but then you've lost all that time to keep growing. And there's so many great videos out on YouTube about exponential growth. Like if you can consistently do like one person a month in the next 12 months, then your team can grow tremendously. And I also see that when you stop recruiting, then it's almost harder to help your new recruits, because it's like you kind of like lose your fizz. Like, well, what am I supposed to be doing for them, or how should I be doing that, or it kind of just gets you out of the groove. So as long as we can stay consistent, that will help us so much, so much. So you're probably like, well, how do you stay consistent within your business? Like, how do I track this? How do I track that? And there's no like definite ways of what you should be doing. But here's a few things that I like to do that you can kind of take if you'd like. I feel terrible saying this, but I just started an Excel spreadsheet of all my customers and like a list of 100. I've never, ever, ever put it in a computer because I always just write it on a piece of paper, right? And then I lose these pieces of paper. And then I have to start my list of 100 over. But I'm also using that list of 100, or it's going to go forever. Like it's not even, I think it's at like 78 people right now of people that I can, like off the top of my head in the last like 6 months, order from me. And I went through like all of my online orders, and I transferred their names and their addresses over so that I can use that for my follow-up too. Because sometimes I do a follow-up Friday and I'm like, well, who am I supposed to follow up with? Like, oh, it's so overwhelming, so I'm just not going to do it. Like that is me to a T. So this way I have a spreadsheet, and every conversation that I have, I just type in, and then I can see, well, who I've talked to. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm talking to the exact same people every single month because I only have a list like this. So now I have a spreadsheet that I can actually track it. This I started a long time ago, and I haven't been using it very well, but I have it. And what it is, it's like a book. It's just a little notebook that I got at the dollar store, and it just has like names of hostesses, and then just when I've talked to them, how I met them, and then it just has flags for like the next host. And I just keep track, right? And so some of these people I should probably follow up with, like, and I just, every person has a little page. And then I can keep track of the people that hosted or that say they want to host or whatever. And then like dates that they do parties on, I just put their little like party date on there. So then I can keep track when, like here I have March 11th, March 10th, April 23rd, so that they can, oh, you can't see it. I can quick find their contact information. So some of them I've put a lot of information on, some I haven't. It's just, and then like here, like if I offer them something, and then I write it down so I don't have to remember, because I'm really bad at remembering stuff.
And can I add something to that? I do something similar, but I use my agenda book. You know how like you contact Sally and Sally's like, oh, I'll host a party in 2 months. Me, I'm like, I got this. I'll remember it. Yeah, right. So I force myself to open my agenda book right then and there, and I write it down. Like, because I have the Scentsy agenda book, so at the beginning it has notes. So I make like hosts or people that want to order. So I make all that, put it down right there. So when I flip that open to that month, I'm like, okay, I got to contact these people. That's the system that works for me, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then too, like I'll put like how much their party was, so that I know kind of going back, like, oh, you had a $700 party last time. Let's see if we can do $750 this time, trying to get them to do a little bit more. So this is really simple. Again, you could do something, in your computer. Siri, if you have an iPhone, I don't know any other Android or whatever, if you have a little friend, but you can have her set you a reminder. And now in my reminders, I have a Scentsy folder. And it's kind of the same thing. I have it go off. So I have one hostess that keeps telling me she's going to host. And like when I contact her, oh, just a few more months later or, whatever. So now I just put it in there. And then every 6 weeks it goes off. And so then I just connect with her and say like, is this a good time? Or, so I'm not constantly bugging her, or I feel like I'm not going to lose her throughout the cracks. There is another way to kind of keep accountable or consistent is to kind of have some paperwork to follow. Christina Steinbrook, who is a superstar director, she I think is in Ohio. She has amazing YouTube videos about scalable systems, and I know it's backwards, but she just has stuff for Monday, like Tuesday, whatever. So she has stuff every day of the week, and then week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So this is like what she does on the first Monday of the month. Okay, the second Monday of the month she does this. Fourth, Now she just starts checking it off. But so consistent that it's like a foolproof way of doing it. Now, I've only printed this off probably about 7 times, literally, and I change it all how I want it to do, and then I just look at it. I don't do it, which is terrible. I need to be way more consistent. Way, way, way more consistent. I am started a women in leadership group here in Minnesota, and it's all sorts of different consultants. It's not just Scentsy consultants. It's not just direct sales. It's any type of at-home business, multi-level marketing. We now get together once a month, and we talk about different topics, follow-up, how to get a bigger team, how, just other leaders in kind of the same thing that we're doing, but just blowing ideas off of each other. And I have been taking so much from this group because there's just so much to be learned. I guess I have not been doing things the way that they do. This one other consultant had talked about how she does her planning in quarters. So she has the 4 quarters of the year. So January, February, March is a quarter, April, May, June. And so she's always looking ahead and always completing what she wants to complete in a quarter. So she's taking out her whole year and doing, maybe she wants to do X, Y, Z in sales the whole year. Then she breaks that down per quarter so she can watch to see if she's consistent and on track. Okay. So I started to do that. And it is crazy to think that way, and it's kind of cool. So if this is for you, great. But I just went online, and you can get free calendars, and I just printed them off. And then what I did on the bottom is I wrote my goals for that quarter. So then I can keep track of how consistent I am, right? Am I having 3 home parties? Nope, I didn't. Not in the first quarter. Did I have 6 basket parties? Nope. Did I have 3 Facebook parties? Am I doing 3, these are just my goals. 3 new team members and 6,000 in PRV. So I can break that down in, more or less. But what I would want to do is, write what I had for PRV in January, in March, or in February, and track it so that I know where I'm at. That would help me stay consistent throughout the whole year. And then any events that I have, I've just been writing them in pencil so that I know what's coming up. So just another suggestion if you think that would be something for you. My last little tip that I have that I got from this group is that her name is Christina, and she's just given me so much information. I was my head exploded when I was talking with her. She is very consistent about calling. And when she calls, she tracks her calls. And I think this is fantastic. And I think Kate and I have even talked about, we need to come up with a sheet. And I haven't done it yet. But So when I make a phone call to either follow up or to get a booking appointment or anything like that, like I track what was done. Did I leave a voicemail? Did I actually talk to someone? Did I get a yes? Did I get a no? I don't know. Like if I look back at my little scribbles, do I have any, like literally scribbles, because Harris got a hold of it, but I don't have any information. I have no idea what I made this list for, or if they wanted to do X, Y, Z. So, you know, having a sheet like that or a planner where you can consistently keep track of your yeses or your nos, or, you know, who does want to party. So then you can know and you can measure, just like we were talking about, measuring and maintaining what you wanted in your business. Ta-da! That's all I wrote. That's all I got. And just reading the notes here. Okay, so you guys were chatting about like the whiff boxes. So started out with, you got 15. Oh, nice, Kate.
They didn't all order like in 1 month, but they're like, because I did a Google form where they filled it out. I asked them, and then I started a binder, and you can see I have tabs up here. So I'm like, oh, she wants to do April. Oh, she wants to do May. So I know to find that tab and just go for it.
Cool.
So it was, and then I have a gal that's interested in joining too. So I'm like,
Right.
sweet. Goes on.
Cool. Do you guys have any other things that about consistency?
I
think my biggest thing is, oh, go ahead, Jen.
I was just going to say that, like, Anne was talking about, like, us not growing like we used to. And that's what I was chatting on the side about, how I know that I don't talk to people like I did in the beginning. So I know that that's where a lot of mine has diminished as far as sponsoring new consultants. And even like I made my first aid kits today for my car and just like redid all that and stocked them with everything. I have been so big on like having Scentsy, not leaving home without it. And I've always had those boxes in my car, but I just like let them go. And on my trip to New York, I took a ton of catalogs, like old catalogs, and all kinds of paperwork. And I was like giving them to airline stewardesses and putting them in the back of the airplane seats and then like in the bathrooms along the way. So I was trying to like use all that old stuff up, that still has my information on it. But just like getting back into the groove of doing that kind of stuff is huge, I think.
Right. Even like handing out a scent circle or just a business card with a sample to a host or a server at a restaurant. Like I used to do that all the time and I was so consistent with it. And now it's like I feel like I have a diaper in my purse and I've got granola bars and snacks and a sippy cup, and it's like I have no room for samples, but I need to make room for my samples.
And I always I have a bin that I have in my car, and I always take out 5 samples and shove them in my pocket. So when I go into a store, I have those samples right there. Because, yeah, I swear by samples.
Hi,
She sees.
That's good to just have them and put them in your pocket.
Right. I never even thought to do that. They'll be all
Well,
samples in my
I buy samples. Like, that builds my customer base. I swear by it. I get more customers. That's how my customers up here. I just actually handed one to a gal at McDonald's, and I had to fill out a drawing slip. Check, I want to do a basket party. Check, I'm interested in joining. Check, and it's just like, just because I handed her a sample, she wants to do all this stuff now. I'm like,
that's cool.
So that's the best way I know how to do it.
Oh, Anne, I wanted to share one thing really quick. I don't know what page it was on, but Missy shared the idea. I don't know if you saw it, of the scent circles, taking the scent circles to, it might have been on that prayer group. She was like talking about writing a little like prayer or just a little like, we're praying, like a note to your local police department, and taking like a basket of scent circles into the police department for their cars. And I love that idea. Like, I think if everybody like joined on that bandwagon, like I seriously like have been, well, today I use up a ton of scent circles, like in my first aid kits or my mobile office things, and all my recruit packets that I made, like I used up a bunch, but I have been purposefully getting free scent circles on my parties so that I can do that. Like, I'm going to start taking baskets, like, I don't know, maybe once a month even, take a basket of scent circles to our local police departments and just giving them, and taking a couple of new catalogs even, because they love Scentsy, or their wives, you know. So if you get a kind of a relationship, build relationships there, then it's a good way to build your business too.
Yeah. Even like fire departments or any military, like we have, different offices here in our area where it's like people get deployed and like, I don't know. Yeah, there's just so much that you could do. It'd be so cool. Very cool. Thank you for sharing. Okay, we have less than a minute, so we'll see you guys the first Monday of next month, which is April 2nd, right?
Yep.
Okay. Have a great 10-year anniversary.
Thanks.
Thanks for hopping on.